Happy Aloha Friday, guys. The weekend is on us. Well, yeah, weekend's on us. It's 4 o'clock in Hawaii, so I guess. And we are the last really well settled time zone, put it that way. There's still a couple more time zones to get through Friday, but we are, in fact, when Y2K hit, I remember it started. Okay, we had all the Australia ones first, and then finally, almost like 20 hours later, it finally got to Hawaii. And also, yeah, so weekend is almost here. I just gave the dogs treats. What did they do with it? Okay, she took it over there. Okay, no dog fights, hopefully. Cassie is getting to be more and more of a little PETA, a little pain in the rear end. Um, yeah, I've got to figure it out. Those of you who have multiple dogs may know what I'm talking about. She's always been really okay with the others, but she's gotten food aggressive. And I want mommy, and no one else can have mom but me. I literally was walking in the house yesterday and I gave all three of them a kiss, and she picked a dog fight on the other two. I mean, just because she didn't want to share me. I'm like, I've got to figure this out. I've got to deal with her big time, big time. But hello. We had Cluck Cluck Chicken Lady first in the chat, and you were waiting and everything. Hey. Oh, I'm looking also at those of you coming in, let me know about the cases. Two of these cases we have covered to some extent here. Two of them we have not, but they were cases that I could not really pull myself away from, and I wanted to talk about. So we're going to talk about them. And we have In the Bushes. How you doing, my dear? Welcome, and aloha. Happy aloha. It's your goats do that chicken. Oh my God, I can see a goat fight. Okay, dog fight is one thing, but a goat fight has to be funny. Do they go at each other with their heads? Do they hit each other with their heads? Uh-huh. You got all the dog fights in the bushes. See, it's like nut. Oh, you got to see this little boy. Since Cassie's over there eating, I can actually bring little Wrigley up. Yeah, you want to show everyone your little bow tie? No, you're not going to show your bow tie. This is my big boy. Little boy dogs, I swear, are the cuddly ones. He is like the big cuddle meister, aren't you? Are you a cuddle meister? Yeah, he's my little cuddle boy. He loves to cuddle. Yeah, so but hello, Lioness. How you doing, my dear? And as soon as Cassie realizes I have Wrigley over here, she will not be happy. But yeah, little boys. This is my second boy that I've had in my life, and boy pups are really sweet. They are so sweet. The girls are full of attitude. Oh yes, he's got the cute little hairdo, don't you? Say hi. Say hi, everyone. Okay, you can sit in here. How's that? You sit there. He's usually the one who's behind my back. He makes a wonderful backrest. And yeah, you're going to climb over here? Yep, he's going to climb over and be my backrest again. Let me lean forward so you can get in position. And so, hey, Miss Cristola's here. How you doing, my dear? Yep, we're all going to be civil. We can be. Yeah. So let's see. We are actually at a 50-50 right now with the different cases. As I mentioned, we have 4 cases we're going to cover today. And starting, we're going to talk about Jocelyn. You guys may remember Jocelyn's case a couple months ago. Jocelyn went missing, and many people were going in the runaway thing. No. She had been essayed and killed by 2 men. We've got some major updates in that as they've been leading up to trial and stuff like that, and they've been the 2 men are in prison now. It's been they're getting more and more evidence showing that these 2 men, who, by the way, they are illegally here in the country, but what's even really worrisome right now is that both of them look like they are connected to the most violent Venezuelan gang. So that's something that as I came across it today, I was like, oh, jeez. Something we definitely need to, because this is how they're pulling. Okay, you get gang members, and it doesn't matter. Okay, no matter where you stand on a lot of other things, it's when you get these gang ideas, was this connected to that? They're finding the information through their TikTok accounts, things that as they've gone looking at social media footprint, they've discovered this. And right now she is in the lead. Okay, 67% of you guys are talking about that. Hello, 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 Red Rock. How you doing, Red Rock? Um, Kennedy Jean Schroer. Kennedy is a case that little 6-year-old who was completely failed by the system. As far as I'm getting tired of saying it over and over and over. How many more children have to be forgotten by the system, have to be failed by the system? This little 6-year-old was adopted along with her siblings, and years ago, years and years ago, she was never reported missing, anything like that. However, her body was found last week, a couple weeks ago, something like that. I'll have to get the exact timing on that. But her body was found buried in the yard of the house where she had been adopted into. They had to get DNA because they could not even identify her. They could not identify how she died. None of that. As of right now, I don't think anyone has been arrested, but there's a reason they're trying to gather. A case like this, you really need to make sure you have all your I's dotted and your T's crossed. So that's Kennedy. Negasi Zuberi, we've talked a little bit about here. Negasi actually had kidnapped and held. Okay, hey Sleuth Mom, how you doing, my dear? Welcome, welcome. Held, it looks like about 4 or so. Something like that. Started with 2, and then they've added on 4. So I'm not sure if it's total of 6 or 4. Women have been essayed by him in a couple cases, actually held and kidnapped by him. And as he's been in prison now for a year. And they're discovering over time that he had planned on building a army of children. And we've got information on him. That is, the trial is starting on Monday. So we're going to address that real quickly. And then the last case is Morgan Nick. Let me ask you guys real quickly. Have any of you guys remember the name Morgan Nick? How many of you guys actually followed her case? Her case started 30 years ago. She was playing with her friends, and her friends left, and she disappeared. She was never seen again. This is 30 years ago. Over this last week, police have, and we're going to actually watch the press conference about this after we talk about a little bit with her case. They never found her. They never found the person who kidnapped her in the bushes. You remember her? Actually, there you go. Actually, some of these cases I got out of some of the amazing people who post cases over on Sleuth's Discord. You got to become a member there so you guys can follow in that Discord, because there's a lot of good info on there. But yeah, she has been missing for all these years. That you've heard of her but never followed. Yeah, and that's kind of where I was too. I'm kind of been trying to catch up on it. Well, they do think they know who actually kidnapped her now. She is still missing, and they're trying to pull things together. So we're going to talk about those 4 cases. You've known about it for a while, but not from the beginning. Got it. Yeah, this was a case so, especially when you're 30 years. Where were you 30 years ago? For some of you, you weren't even alive yet. 30 years ago for me, I was in college. Okay, So let's get started first with Jocelyn. Okay, many of us were following Jocelyn's case a couple months ago. And what's popping up now is, as we know, the people who are connected to her, death were arrested. Yep, exactly, in the bushes. Exactly. Morgan was kidnapped from a kid's ball game. I think she had stayed a little later to play or something, but it was during a ball game and all. Exactly. And so the 2 men that were arrested in Jocelyn's essay and death are currently in prison. They're awaiting a trial. And however, this news story came out over the last day or two, a couple days, and that her suspected killers are now under investigation for connections to the Aragua gang. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. Warrants are coming out now. We're starting to get more. Now, these are some of, yeah, it's just scary seeing what's going on in our communities right now. Okay, we're talking about how our communities are changing. Sleuth and I had a great little discussion going on the other day on her channel. But so much is changing lately. And we do know, no, not all crime is through illegals. Hell no. Hell no. Okay, a lot of, okay, American citizens are connected to crime and all. But in this case, and quite a few other cases, we are seeing a lot of people who are coming here. Okay, and they do have ties to very violent gangs. And this is one of the things we've been worried about for quite a while. And here we are seeing it. Sorry, Cassie wants attention. Okay, so wanted to go through this here. And I think I got it up correctly. Yep, I do. Okay, let's go through this. New search warrants obtained by KPRC2 revealed the two men accused of killing 12-year-old Jocelyn earlier this year are being investigated for possible connections to the violent Venezuelan gang Aragua. Franklin Pena and Johan Martinez-Rangel have been indicted for capital murder in Harris County and each have a $10 million bond. According to the search warrants issued to TikTok, so they've gone to TikTok, Facebook, all of those, and given them, okay, warrants. They want to see what their social media pattern and footprint was like. And they sent this stuff to TikTok and they did get responses back. Partly, okay, and the reason why they're looking into this is because as they started looking at these people's public TikToks, they started seeing more and more information connecting to them. Quote, it makes it seem more real that these people are monsters and that these are evil people who do heinous things, don't have a heart, who have no compassion for anybody, Jocelyn's mother, Alexis Nungaray, told KPRC Tuesday night. We really have no business burying our kids. They're supposed to bury us. On one of their TikTok account bios, there are emojis that show a ninja, cross sword, and a classical building, which investigators wrote in the warrant. TDA, the gang, will use certain slang and emojis in their communications with one another to identify themselves to others. Okay, of course, they're not going to come straight out and say, hey, guess what? I'm part of this gang. Come join me or anything. They're not going to say those things. So they're giving those different little, I hadn't even thought about that, but it does make sense why they would do stuff like that. In a post on that same account, there's a message written in Spanish, which investigators described as, quote, a call to members inside and outside the country. And that, quote, the message involved TDA gang membership. And this is where a lot of the concerns are, okay, with we've got people coming in and we don't know what their background is. And other clues on the social media accounts included certain clothing or shoes, records show, and certain hand signals, which we've heard about for years, okay, that recognize one gang member to another. On a different account, investigators believe belonged to Pena, there's video that shows him traveling to the U.S. in what appears to be a migrant train, posted in early May. According to U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, Pena was apprehended by Border Patrol on May 28th near El Paso. Another video on that account showed Pena with 2 star tattoos on his shoulders, along with a rose tattoo on his hand, which investigators wrote are associated with the gang. Now, guys, any of these things on their own aren't really evidence of much. Okay, how many people have a rose tattoo on their hand? It happens. But it's like so many other things that we talk about in true crime. Okay, you start getting red flag next to red flag next to red flag, and it alerts you to other possibilities, and it makes other possibilities much higher risk. And that's what we're seeing here. In requesting the search warrant, investigators said they believed they could find more evidence related to Nungaray's death, communications the suspects had with other gang members, evidence of gang affiliation or activity, or other potential criminal acts. My concern here, and I don't know, I can't remember if they said anything about this, but trafficking in general. One of the things we know that a lot of gang activity will get involved in is trafficking. Is there a chance by getting into the social media here that they can be alerted to some potential trafficking occurring at this point? Okay, recognize other faces of people that are missing and now realize where they are. We don't know. Quote, this proves that these are very horrible people and it wasn't an accident, that they just went too far. That's what her mom is saying. And basically, what she's trying to say is, you know what? Sometimes people, when they get involved with a crime, something happens and it just gets pushed too far. Doesn't make it right, but incident progresses and something happens that they never would have planned on having happen. Okay, as her mom is saying here, that this is proving that these are people who they live in a criminal element to begin with. Okay, it's not a case of, oops, something happened. They were potentially, we don't know, but potentially planning things as things went on, as we discover. Jocelyn was found strangled to death, partially submerged in a North Houston bayou on June 17th. Now, remember, okay, one of them, Pena, was actually apprehended on May 28th, June 17th. Y'all know the calendar and what comes first and what comes second. Investigators said her hands and ankles were bound. According to the indictment, she was also sexually assaulted. Alexis Nungaray had been outspoken since about U.S. immigration policy calling for change. Quote, I needed to turn my pain into power and just make a difference, she said. I will use my last breath fighting for her. Last month, Texas Governor Greg Abbott designated TDA as a foreign terrorist organization, directing the Department of Public Safety to designate them a Tier 1 gang and create a TDA strike team to identify and arrest gang members from TDA. TDA gangsters are like cockroaches. They multiply quickly. Small intrusions into communities become infestations if not aggressively pursued, DPS Director Colonel Steve McCraw said during the announcement. TDA is known for brutal violence, Abbott said, including violent crimes like murder, SA, and sex or drug trafficking. It's not clear how many known or suspected TDA members are active in Texas. Abbott announced a $5,000 reward for any information that leads to the identification or arrest of suspected TDA members involved in criminal activity in the state. You know, I hate to do this, but I think my mom just got home. Let me see what's going on. Guys, I think she forgot. My mom locked herself out of the door. I'm sorry, gang. I will be, talk amongst yourself and chat, gang, real quick. I will be right back. I think she locked herself out. So I will be right back. Hey guys, I'm sorry about that. Hopefully I'm back. Video's good, audio hopefully is good. Let me know if not. Um so oh my gosh. You lost me for 10. Oh, was my connection not working real well? Let me go back through everything. Oh, got it. No problem. Yeah, no, sorry about that, gang. Mom went out for a few minutes and I told her make sure to unlock the door. She forgot to unlock the door. So, and forgot her keys. So, but I am back now. But let's see here. Lioness, well, they emptied their jails. Yeah. And that's some of the things. TDA. Okay, TDA is the name of this gang, Seal, just FYI. So basically, TDA, let me get the name of the gang again because I actually had never heard of this gang. Tren de Aragua is a Venezuelan gang that, according to what we're hearing here, is an extremely violent gang out of Venezuela that people are okay, they have history of trafficking, drugs, sexual trafficking. They have SA, that a lot of different things going on. And what they're discovering now is that these two men who took Jocelyn's life are probably connected to this group. And that's what was going on with that. And are they in the bushes? See, I need to do some more research into the group itself now. So yeah, thank you, my dear. So yeah, that's what's going on within that. And I'm just checking up. No problem, Crystal. It's got lives too, you know, and it's fine. And also, that is definitely where it's something that we continue to hear about as a potential okay crime. And no matter where you stand, okay, I know some a lot of people who have come here through immigration, the greatest people in the world, but there's also some really bad groups coming in that aren't wanted where they are, and that's what's happening here now. Okay, it's what we're being told, okay, as the investigations are going in, and we're starting seeing a lot of us had a funny feeling when we heard about what happened to Jocelyn that there could be connections at some point. And also, there are South American terrorists. Okay, so it's full South. I'm wondering how far they've come in. I need to do some deeper. This I actually read about till this morning. I actually was trying to update myself on different cases that I try to follow. And that's when I came across this article. And yeah, I'll be honest with you, it is scary. Okay, especially for those who are living in the areas where you seem to be getting a higher rate of people coming in. Okay, and you see crime going up and you're trying to figure out how can we address that. Okay, I agree. Why people will take someone else's, yeah, doesn't make sense. So that's where we are with Jocelyn. What I want to do now is move us over to, sorry, hopefully Crisp is doing its job right now. And but over to, let's see, right here. Here we go. Kennedy. Okay. I put a one in chat if you've heard about the case of Kennedy Jean Schroer. I think some of you guys probably, if you've been over in some other discords, may have seen it. But for those of you who haven't, I'll be interested how many of you guys do know about this. This is a little 6-year-old who was put up for adoption by her mom along with her siblings. And at some point, she disappeared. She wasn't reported missing or anything like that. Another one of those cases where years later, okay, we're finding out, and she actually, her birth name, this is actually one thing I've noticed. How often we hear of people when they're put out for adoption. And I'm not saying that this is bad, it's just not something I personally understand. People who I get explain, okay, changing a last name. Hell yeah. You adopt a child, okay, you want them to be part of your family, and that includes that name, that last name. But changing a child's first name, okay, I don't even do that with my animals. Okay, when I adopt an animal, okay, Halpia. Halpia came to me when she was 5 years old. Okay, we had always named our female dogs Duchess, and my mom's like, "Oh, should we change it?" I'm like, "No, no." She answers to Alpia. She answers to Pia. And now a child is no. And we see it over and over. We see it with Ariel. Okay, they changed her to Isabella. We see it with Blake and London Devon. Hey, Kathleen, how you doing, my dear? Okay, Blake and London Devon also. It's not the last name only; they're changing the first name too. Yeah, it feels, and this is just me, my opinion only, but it feels like okay, maybe if the child is like newborn and doesn't even know their name yet, okay, fine. I guess, go for it. But when you're talking about a child who is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, no, that's their identity. You're taking their identity away from them. And that's kind of what we have here. Okay, Kennedy, actually was born Natalie. And except for you wanted your name. Well, and there is that. Okay, it's like me, Lokomai. That's my Hawaiian name, and I've actually considered legally changing it, adding it, not changing it, but adding it. So, bingo, seal. You got it. You got it right there. Harder to follow. Harder to follow. You want to keep that separation between the birth family and the other family. Harder to follow. And I think that's it. West Boys, classic and sincere. Yep, they were changed too. You do see that quite often. And so anyhow, what I'm going to do, we've got a couple different videos here and an article. So I wanted to start with this one video, and then we will to introduce you guys to this because basically, about a week ago or so, the remains of this child were found in a backyard. I guess there had been some sort of thing happen in the house, and police were called in. And during discussions with the people in the house, something was said that alerted them they needed to dig up the backyard. They dug up the backyard and found the remains of a child who'd been buried there for a couple of years. And so that's where we are as we start this.
Identity of that child.
And now a woman from Salina has come forward claiming it is her biological daughter. KAKE's Nick Nelson spoke with her as well as the Rose Hill police chief about what the next steps are in the case. Nick.
Chris and Deb, this video gives us a closer look at the scene where the remains of this child were found. You can see right here, this little patch right here, where the remains were discovered. They made that.
Now, I'm not sure if this article does it. I've watched so many articles. I think there were 3 children that were adopted, so 2 siblings. Yep, since 2020. And so I didn't write tons of notes. Usually I have tons of notes. I just have names today. So all the different things are mixing up in my head. They're getting all kapakahi in the head. So, but yeah, which brings in another whole thing that she had siblings throughout this time. What were those siblings having to go through?
That harrowing discovery. Today we went to Rose Hill to speak with officials and tried to talk with the owners of that home. We attempted to speak with the owner of this home in Rose Hill, where on September 11th, law enforcement dug up the backyard. There, they found the remains of a small child. No one answered the door. Rose Hill Police Chief Taylor Parlier says his detectives discovered the remains after a person in distress call at the home.
And while dealing with that individual and the circumstances surrounding that person's crisis, information was gathered up which indicated that there might be a human remains in the backyard of this residence. A search warrant was secured on the morning of the 11th, and we started digging in the afternoon, located the body at approximately 4:30 p.m.
Tuesday.
Christola, what state? Kansas. If I think it's pretty much Kansas if I'm hearing this. Salina, I think it's Kansas. Let me double check that. It is Seal? Okay, perfect. I jumped it. Okay, good. Here we go.
We talked to Christina Helm, who lives in Salina. She says the remains found are those of her biological daughter.
Children that are biologically related to Miss Helm had been residing at the home, yes.
Helm says investigators took her DNA for the investigation, and police say they are waiting on DNA test results in the case to help identify the child. Parlier says it appears the remains had been there for years.
We have no outstanding missing persons reports in Rose Hill. That was just a completely unscientific guess based on, again, readings that I've done in the past and how far along the decomposition had been.
So, No reports of missing, if I'm catching this correct, what they're saying. The family, okay, it reminds me of Gianna, okay, who ends up, okay, she's killed by her adopted her guardians. And they had to go to the family and say, can we get DNA from you? We need to be able to check all this stuff, things like that. But yeah, think about those kids, those sisters, that feeling of all these years knowing that they had a sister. I'm not sure what the ages of those children were. We'll see if it's in the article we're going to go over next. But all of a sudden, to know a sibling is not there anymore. Okay, at least one of them had to have that memory of a sibling. Okay, say maybe one was an infant or something like that. I don't know. Okay, well, hopefully we'll get some more information, but they are children and there's probably some level of privacy and confidentiality. Yeah, I suspect, Crystal, yeah, there was probably, I don't know for sure if Kansas pays for adoption type things. I do know some states do. But this again is one of the reasons why I think we really need to be looking at follow-up care. Okay, follow-up checks on occasion, things like that. This should not be happening this often.
It could be more, it could be less. That was just an anecdotal view in the moment when I was out there.
Even though there are no outstanding missing persons reports in the city of Rose Hill PD says they're working tirelessly to make sure the story of this child is not forgotten.
At the end of the day, all we're focused on is finding out the truth of the matter. And anybody who has any information, no matter how small, no matter how infinitesimal they think that it is, we're happy to listen to anybody's information that they might have on the situation, because all information will be taken into account when we're looking into this case.
Parlier says investigators are taking their time in this case to make sure they have all their facts straight before making any potential arrests. Nick Nelson.
So that's what we're going to go through next is some of the those types of questions. But looking at this house, you can see it's here with a cul-de-sac up here in the upper corner. Swimming pool back here. Okay, this is the area where they dug up her remains and all. So, okay, bye, Mom. Sorry. And so that is the area right there. Let me switch us. So the mom had been doing it. Had she in this? I do know she's trying to get back the other two now. The family is looking at how can they get the other two children back at this point. So because I think she gave them up because she felt like it was a potential better life for them. So let me switch us over real quickly to the article. Let's see, here we go. But this is just, it's so sad that a child can go missing and no one notices. No one notices. No neighbors noticed. No, she was 6. So what about school at the time? Okay. Is there any way of, if the children were adopted, to all of a sudden be saying, wait, this kid isn't going to school? What? Wait, what's going on here? Okay. Yeah, Cristola. Okay, I'm so sick and tired of hearing about freaking innocent kids being hurt. The only thing people have as a reason is pure evil. Yeah, there's no reason to hurt a child. Okay. Oh no, Lioness. Sorry. YouTube can be another pain in the, yeah, exactly. So this is from the Wichita Eagle, and they did go through. So yeah, so this is the little sweetheart here. And I mean, she doesn't just disappear and not even be reported. It's another one like London and Devon. No. And police have identified the remains of the child found buried in the backyard of a home in the cul-de-sac in Rose Hill on September 11th. They did have to use DNA, and from there were able to identify her as Kennedy Jean Schroer, who was adopted by Christina and Joe Schroer in November 2019. It's believed she died in late 2020. She was not even with them a year before she died. What happened to her? What have these other children been living with since then? 4 years. During those years, we had COVID going on where these kids would have been in the house all the time. what was going on. She was born on July 14th, 2014. Parlier, which is her, the chief, she was a beautiful child with an infectious smile. Her remains were found in the backyard of a home in the 1400 block of North Meeker Court. The Schroers have owned the house since at least 2019, according to the earliest available online Butler County tax info. No one is currently in custody. And there are reasons for that. I'm not going to jump on police on that. They need to, something like this, if they don't have those I's crossed and those T's dotted, they won't get the justice that they need to get her. And she deserves justice. Quote, we understand that many in the public might be confused how an arrest in this case has not been made. That is completely understandable, he said. What we would like to convey is that we have one chance to gather as much information as possible to find out what happened to this child and to tell her story. Parlier confirmed Krista Helm is Kennedy's biological mother and that the girl was named Natalie Garcia at birth. Seal is saying, I was about to get upset with the mom until you started digging. And see, that's the thing. We see these cases, and you know what? Sometimes a child is put up for adoption because of mistreatment. We see those cases all the time. There are also cases, and I don't know about this. I don't know, and that's why I'm not judging one side or another right now, because I haven't dug into it deep enough to know. But you know what? There are also parents who put their child up for adoption, or children potentially in a case like this, because they want what is best for that child. And they know it might not be with them as much as they want to. I mean, I know this sounds ridiculous, but if you've ever watched the Broadway musical Miss Saigon, during the whole time with Vietnam at the end of the war, you had parents giving up their child because they wanted that child to have the best life possible. And I don't know the case. It looks like Seal has done a little bit more information for that. Red Rock is saying, in my state, homeschooling has not been, that's a huge issue. Okay. That looks to be changing. Parents take kids out of school on a pretext of home. Yeah. And not always. And that's the problem. People love to see the world in black and white. The world is not black and white. Look at all the different shades and colors out there. You can't look at the world in black and white. Okay, but you have to. If we're going to look at something like homeschooling, I know people who have homeschooled, actual parents, as well as children who were homeschooled. And you know what? They're some of the greatest parents. And oh my God, the kids that I've known, I've got family members who've homeschooled, and those kids are smarter than any kid that I have out there at a normal school. But it's not always like that. It is not like this all the time. How many times we do see the other side where homeschooling is being used as an excuse to get the child out of that first line of defense when it comes to abuse. And they did, they took the kids out in this case too. How many times? Okay, yeah, Lioness. I mean, I'm for homeschooling if a parent wants to take on that responsibility, but I think we need to have it monitored. We need to have systems in place. We need to make sure that of ensuring children get the social side, all these other things that go on. You know why? The kids matter. The kids matter. We need to make sure that a parent is not using homeschooling like those parents were. Okay, not parents. Okay, because I don't consider them parents. The Kaluas were not parents as far as I'm concerned. Okay, they're monsters, plain and simple. But they were using homeschooling as a way to keep the children out of the public eye so they could do whatever they wanted to. Okay, because you got it, Crystal. Crystal was saying, not always. I wanted to put my kid in homeschooling because my kid got you for not wanting to go to school. See, and so there's a lot of reasons. It's just knowing and making sure. And even in Hawaii, I know they do not want to look at a lot of those things here in Hawaii, but I think we need to. We need to. And it's It's unfortunate that we have to put systems in place because of the assholes out there. But you know what? That's usually how most rules happen. Okay, most rules are in place because assholes who did not want to do what was right. So why was she unaccounted for so long? So Helm told KSN earlier this week that the child who had died was one of 3 daughters she had given up for adoption. Parlier said that Helm's children were in the custody of the Schroers, but all the children in the home had been placed in protective custody. Thank God. Earlier this week, he would not say how many children that was. Well, we do know it was a total of 3. Now, we don't know if they had any other children in the house, though. Earlier, Helm questioned in an interview with KSN how one of her children could be unaccounted for so long. How does nobody know this child is missing? Helm, who did not respond to the Eagle earlier this week, told KSN. Why was the Kansas Department of Children and Families not checking up on her? In response to questions earlier this week, including how a child was not accounted for years, in an email, DCF spokesperson Aaron LaRoe said, quote, DCF is treating this case's disclosure as a situation involving the death of a child not in the custody of the secretary. Therefore, your questions are better directed to law enforcement, which leads the investigator responsible for filing any charges if warranted in the case. So again, they don't want to answer any questions or anything because the children had been adopted, and as such, they didn't have any responsibility anymore. Okay, and that's where some of the questions keep popping up. When asked how Kennedy went unaccounted for so long, Parlier said, accounting for the child is the primary focus of the investigation at this time, and therefore I cannot speak more to that question. The child's remains were found during a mental health call. Police first learned a child was buried in the backyard of the home after responding to a September 10th mental health call where an adult at the residence threatened to harm themselves. 2 other adults, and 2 children were inside as well. So now we know the 2 other children, the 2 siblings, okay, 2 Kennedy, 2 Natalie were in the room, in the house. Police eventually took the person who was barricaded into custody. That person was then taken to a hospital and has since been released. The body was found buried 3 feet deep in the backyard the next day, and it has been ruled a homicide. So that's where we are with that case right now. Now, let me switch us over to so you can hear a little bit from her mother, this biological mother, by the way. Let's see. See if I can find the right one here. Here we go, please. There we go. Okay. What we have here from correct. I don't think it's fair that a child or a parent should be held responsible for no school, but I do. Oh, okay. I know what you're talking. Yeah. Chicken Lady is saying my kids went to public school, but in this day, I don't know if I would send them to public schools. My oldest is a teacher, and that's the thing. I'll be honest. When we came to Hawaii, my parents insisted on us going to private school, mainly because they had heard there was a lot of issues that went on way in the past. I mean, there were some totally different issues like Kill Holiday and all sorts of stuff back when I was growing up. And they, based off of these horror stories they were hearing, they were like, nope, we're putting you over here. And also, Krista Helm is the mom's name in this case, was it? I think it's Krista Helm. Yeah, Krista Helm is her biological mother. And also, okay, so let's listen to, I had to go forward a little bit because we had some music in the background. And however, this can kind of get there and you can kind of hear a little bit from Krista.
Not know how the 6-year-old girl died, and he has not made any arrests.
And the child's biological mother speaking again with KSN's Derek Lytle. She says it's like reliving living a nightmare she already knew was true.
That's their mic. They
Yeah,
turned off her
Jeff,
mic.
Julia, the child was most recently known by her adoptive name, Kennedy Schroer, but to her biological mother, Krista Helm, she will always be Natalie Garcia. I first spoke with Krista 1 week ago. Today, she told me her pain has now turned to a fight for Natalie, who will never get to experience growing up. Krista Helm relinquished custody of 3 of her daughters in 2018, all 3 adopted into the Schroer home in 2019. Police believe Natalie, whose name was changed to Kennedy Schroer, died November of 2020, just a year after being adopted.
Has come back. I know it's Natalie.
Visiting with the police chief, Krista took her first trip to Rose Hill. She says when she laid eyes on the house her daughter was buried at, it gave her chills.
Paralyzed me, really. I mean, we were just driving down the street, and there it was, you know, and just the thoughts of everything which have already been going through my mind, but what may have happened, what has happened, what's happening in there right now.
She says she thought her...
That's the thing. I mean, as a mother right now, we're being told that the remains were so old they could not identify the cause of death. And so her biological mom knows her daughter's no longer alive, but she has no idea what happened during that. She has no idea. So you know what, as a mom, you're going to be thinking the worst thing in the world. Worst thing in the world pretty much happened anyhow, but you know what? How that happened could be a wide range of things. Dad's mom tried to get them before they were put in foster care. Okay, thank you for sharing this, Seal, by the way. She had not seen them in 18 months, so CPS wouldn't approve. Wow. So she had not seen them in 18 months, so they put her in with a adopted family that they don't. Okay, make that make sense. It's just no, Crystal, I understand where you're coming from. I get you. I get you for sure. This is yeah. And yeah, that precious face. And every one of those pictures, guys, every one of those pictures just shared, have you noticed? Were from biological mom. They were not pictures that were being shown in the adopted family's house. Okay, on their chimney, okay, top, okay, cover in any of the bookcases or anything like that. They were her mother's pictures. And yeah, they put them with strangers instead of a grandparent who wanted them. That makes no sense whatsoever. None at all.
Her kids would have a better chance at life when she lost custody and is confused about how things went south.
The state of Kansas has failed my kids, and I want them to get the proper therapy and love they need.
Oh, hell yeah.
Real family, where they belong.
Krista met with...
And that's something, sorry for stopping it so far, I think she has every right to ask for. I don't care if these children, the other 2 that are still there, okay, have been adopted or not. They were placed in that location by Child Family Services, okay, in Kansas. Whether or not they were adopted or not, they were put into that position, okay, after the system there deemed that house safe. So these children now that are living, knowing their big sister, little sister, I'm not sure, Seal, if you know the ages of the other children. Hey, B10, how you doing, my dear? Aloha and welcome. Happy Aloha Friday. Okay, these 2 little girls, okay, have to have issues they're dealing with. Okay, that was trauma, losing a sister and having to hide it all these years. And you know what? I think the biological mom has every right in the world to say, you know what? I want the state of Kansas to make sure they get the mental health care that they need. Yeah, it is. And that's the thing. They want to say, oh, no, it's not us because they were adopted. Well, you know what? You're the one who sat there and said this family was a safe family. She wasn't even there. She was the oldest. Okay, that's what I've been wondering, and I hadn't seen anything really yet on that. So, okay, got it. Thank you. And she was, 6 at the time of her death, I think it was. But I mean, maybe say one was an infant, I don't know, but at least one had to be old enough to remember their sibling. And so
Hills police chief at length, the chief calling it a powerful conversation. He says those in his department feel they are now tied to this investigation for life, wanting to find justice for the little girl.
We're all humans. It's easy to look at people in uniform as robots, as becoming numb over the course of years. I can promise you that nobody involved in this case is numb to these events.
Krista says she will not rest until justice is delivered for her little Natalie. Krista's family is raising funds to one day have a proper funeral. She tells me the family is now looking into hiring legal counsel as she fights to get her other two daughters back home. Now, we have reached out to DCF yet again for records in this case. Here for you, Derek Lytle, KSN News 3.
yeah, it's really, sorry, I couldn't look forward on that. And that is the, Cassie, stop it. She's upset because I'm holding Wrigley. And this is called jealousy if I've ever seen it. So, yeah, it's really, I do believe the police when they say, okay, they're in it and they're gonna, that this is a case they care about. I believe them. I do believe them on this. Could you see hearing that? Oh, what do you mean? There's a child buried in the backyard. What? What? Wait, what do you mean? Could you see that? And having to go into this house and start digging up and worried, what are you going to find? Yeah, they're going to care. And hell, yeah, those kids, okay, yeah, they're in foster care. As a parent, how are you going to trust the system that has now put your children in foster care when they initially put them in a location that ended up causing the life of one of the children? Okay, I don't blame them. And I think, yes, they need to be able to come home. Those kids need to be able to come home at this point. And the state needs to be doing everything in their power to make sure. And if the state isn't sure that it's a safe place, then try to find ways to make sure it is a safe place. Work with the family. Okay, because right now, there's a lot going on in this, and it all started off, yes, things always start off with, okay, we don't know the situation that led to CPS doing this, but CPS made the decision to do what they did. Okay, and they chose that family. And yeah, and that's the thing. Just hand off to another family and hand off to another family. And yeah, I've got kids. I mean, these pups are all over the place. They're driving me crazy, Seal. I get Wrigley right here. Yeah, there you go. Now you can see him. So we'll see what goes on with that. I'll let you know if I hear more because I suspect. Oh, this one, yes, she's got my pillow and she loves to. That's Mama. Mama has to dig holes all the time, and she is like crazy. He is a good girl. Happy, broken tail. Hi. She's like, I don't want to look at you. No. So she's so cute. Okay. So next case, I get you, girl. You should see me as I'm researching some of these things. I get so pissed. The dogs will feel it off me when I get so angry. Okay, so I have to pull myself back at times and all. So so let's move on. This next one actually is not long. I just wanted to let y'all see what's going on here. We talked a little bit last week about Negasi Zuberi. Let me see. Here we go here. This one's just really quick to kind of let you know what's Tim. Oh my God. Did I actually clip that? I think we made a clip of that somewhere when, yes, exactly. They were having a little too much fun with each other. And I had to become the wall of protection. So, oh my God, it was crazy. See, we'll see next time when it happens. What, Cassie? Are you giving me that look? Eat your chewy. Eat your chewy, please. No, you want to lick it instead. Okay, whatever. One here, one there. 3 is too much. Never again. 2 dogs, that's it. So Negasi. Okay, let me actually switch these over. There we go. So Negasi Zuberi, we kind of talked about him. Many of us were following this case a year ago when he was arrested. One of the reasons why I brought it up recently is they still think there are women out there who were attacked by Negasi. Okay, he has lived in many states, and has done the same type of thing many times. And so we have Tim. Thank you so much, my dear. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, my dear. And I really do. Thank you so much. We're going to turn the room right. Here we go. Here we go. And thank you so much, Tim. And so he has been in prison, and they have been doing jury selection this week. And Monday his trial starts. He is going to be there. I haven't been able to check. In fact, I was going to ask Seal and a couple other people, has anyone been able to hear if this is going to be shown or not? I'm going to kind of take a look around somewhere. I will update you guys on this case for sure. Yes, Cristola, you always end up getting one of the freebies. You always get it. You've got the luck of the Irish with that for sure. And also, yeah, Tim is super kind and supportive. I really appreciate that. And so, mahalo. I always say mahalo, and I'm always so worried people aren't going to know what I'm saying. Thank you. So let's go through this real quick. This is real short just to show you what's going on. And from there, so this is Negasi Zuberi. He is the guy who was arrested after kidnapping women, okay, taking them to a room that he built and essaying them, all in the hopes of starting an army of children of his own.
A Klamath Falls man accused of kidnapping a woman in Seattle and then locking her in a makeshift cell will appear in court today.
His trial in federal court is set to begin next week, and our Thomas Schultz joins us now from the newsroom with more on this. Good morning, Thomas.
Hey, good morning, guys. And Negasi Zuberi has been in jail for more than a year. Today, he will appear in U.S. District Court in Medford. And we've got some new information about that upcoming trial next week. Around 500 exhibits of evidence.
He looks like a dope. Sorry. I mean, I'm looking at him and I keep thinking Dopey from the Seven Dwarfs. Sorry. Okay. I just had to say.
Will be presented. Zuberi has been charged with numerous offenses like.
So that is, sorry, I'm cutting in the middle of the sentence, but this is part, you're seeing some of the pictures of the room that he had built. Okay. And you're going to see some pictures of the notes that he had put together of his plan and all, and again, another reason why this is so important to be shared out is because there are other women most likely out there who were attacked by him. And police, first of all, they're trying to get justice for these women. And second of all, there's something to knowing you're not alone, that there are other people and you are not alone.
Rape, assault, and kidnapping. And this comes after he locked a woman in a makeshift cinderblock cell in his Klamath Falls home last year. Police say Zuberi lived in at least 10 states over the past few years, and he's linked to at least 4 sexual assaults, all in different states. Once Zuberi was arrested, he tried to escape by breaking the glass window in his Medford jail cell. Deputies responded and placed him in a cell without exterior windows. Then in August, Zuberi appeared in court and made a statement denouncing.
Okay, can pause that right there so you can see. So Operation Takeover. Okay, leave your phone. So when he go out, leave your phone at home. Make sure they don't have a bunch of people in their life. So he specifically would look for women, okay, who didn't have a lot of people in their life. Okay, you don't want an investigation. This is why we talk about certain people are at a higher risk, okay, of activity like this. Because, yeah, as this guy says, oh, yeah, if they have tons of family and friends and all, you know, I'm going to have tons of people speaking up for them and being their voice. Zuberi, I know exactly. And dig a hole straight down. This was his whole plan in the end. this hole straight down 100 feet with concrete blocks. And this is where he would keep people until he could build his army of children.
Denouncing the government and police. He also asserts charges against him are, quote, unprovable. It was also revealed that Zuberi kept several journals in which he allegedly detailed plans to kidnap.
Zuberi. Well, actually, it is kind of funny the way it comes out. Zuberi. Zuberi. Yeah, that. Gosh, think about the memes you can come. Okay, never mind.
And imprison women to create a, quote, underground army of children. Now, along with the federal trial, Zuberi is also facing rape and kidnapping charges from the state of Oregon in a separate case. We still don't know when that trial is set to begin.
Okay, so that's where we will be with that one. As of next week, we'll start hearing stuff. Monday, I think they're supposed to, I don't know if they actually finished jury selection or not. I was not able to find that information, just that they were doing jury selection. Hopefully we'll get some more information coming out. The local channels have been really good about updating daily. So even if I can't find it being shown anywhere, I think we'll be able to get updates. Oh yeah, Seal. That was the whole idea. That was his whole plan at one point. He was going to build an army of kids of his own and take over and all that. I mean, this guy is like Looney Tunes, true Zuberi. But sorry, I'm just really, I mean, this guy, the number of lives he ruined, I'll make as much fun as I can of him. I'm sorry, but I'm just like, he is dirt. Okay, and then to try to break glass to get out of jail. I love the fact that he just ended up in a jail cell without any windows leading outside. Shucks, there went that whole view of the sky. Poor guy. And all sorry. I'm in a mood today, aren't I? And also, he is delusional. He is, and I'm kind of surprised. I think, in fact, at one time he actually wanted to be his own. I think he was actually going to do all that. I don't think it happened. I've been trying to catch up on this case because it kind of disappeared off of my list of cases for a while, and it's popped itself back in recently. And I'm so happy that the government itself was able to pull together everything they did. So last case I wanted to look at today, and this one, okay. How many of, I asked earlier, how many of you, and where are we? Okay, Morgan, Nick, 25%. Okay. Remember the case of Morgan Nick. This, about 30 years ago, she was, let me share this one out real quick. Daily Mail actually, again, has done a really good job at sharing information out. Decades ago, 3 decades ago, she went missing. As was said earlier, she was at a baseball game and she'd been playing with friends, and she went missing. And no one ever was able to find her. There were a lot of thought processes on this. They now are pretty sure they now have a suspect. And that's what happened this week. There was an announcement and press conference, and we are going to watch the press conference where they were able to go through exactly everything they've been doing over these last 3 decades to get to the point where they were finally able to name a suspect. Unfortunately, that suspect is no longer with us. Hopefully, he is burning in a very, very nice hot pit in hell right now. The problem is Morgan is still missing. As her mom says, as we read through this, she is at the point where she's accepted. Most likely, her daughter is no longer with us. But even then, it's like 99%, because there's always that, but what if type thing. So the mother of Morgan Nick, who vanished from a Little League game in 1995, has accepted her daughter is almost certainly dead. Colleen Nick's admission came on Tuesday after a suspect in the case was finally named after 30 years. Cops in Alma, Arkansas declared Billy Jack Lincks, the father of a convicted rapist who died in prison in 2000, the lead suspect in Morgan's disappearance. In an exclusive interview, exactly in the bushes. And in an exclusive interview with Daily Mail, Colleen said, "Now I just want to know where Morgan is." Look at Morgan here. I mean, some of you may recognize her face and not the name. That's how I was. I recognized the face. I did not recognize the name at first. There's probably a 1% chance she's alive, but really I don't think there is. And that's the problem. Okay, there's always that chance. And as long as there's that chance, even if everything in her body screams, no, that little chance, that's why finding, and hopefully now there will be more people with more information. Oscar, hey, my dear, hello. I had fun watching you last night. And, okay. This is the piece of dirt we're talking about. Again, suspect, okay, but a hell of a lot of potential evidence going on here. They've really pulled some stuff together. They did a great job on this investigation. Okay, this is Morgan's mom, Colleen. And Morgan was last seen chasing fireflies with a friend in the parking lot at the former Wofford, I guess, baseball field about 10:45 p.m. on June 9th, 1995. Her mother was at the game and it was drawing to a close. She couldn't find her daughter. Alma Police Chief Jeff Pointer revealed this week that DNA testing on a strand of blonde hair found in Lincks' 1986 red Chevrolet Scottsdale pickup truck matched that of Colleen or someone directly related to her. So basically, they had this hair fiber, and they had to go to her mom because they don't have her DNA. So they had to go to mom to find out and get a DNA profile. And from there, they're like, okay, whoever this hair belongs to is directly related to the mom. Lincks died in prison of cancer in 2000 at the age of 75 after being given 6 years for trying to abduct an 11-year-old girl in the neighboring city of Van Buren just 3 months after Morgan vanished. Morgan vanishes. 3 months later, he's going and trying to abduct another little girl. He was charged with SA of a 14-year-old girl in 1992, but the charge was reduced to sexual abuse in the first degree, meaning he escaped jail time with a probation order. Make that make sense. Excuse me. Make that make sense, especially with all this stuff we're seeing. Okay. And that case is the reason Morgan is likely dead, her mother believes. Yeah, I hate to say it, but probably true. Quote, he had already been convicted of this. He was instructed that if it happened again, he'd be in prison. So I don't think he wanted to leave a witness this time. They told him when they dropped it from R to SA that, well, if it ever happens again, don't be a bad boy. If this ever happens again, we're going to have to put you in prison. Yeah. Colleen, now 59, is coming to terms with the fact that the man who likely abducted her daughter will never face justice. I would have liked to look him in the face and admit what he did. But she added, because Lincks is dead, I don't think we have justice, yet we have the answers to who took her. He only lived in Arkansas like 2 years when he got Morgan. Wow. They are also investigating cases in Texas where he lived before. Jeez. This is one guy who needed more justice. Yeah. Let's see. Nick moved out of Alma to an isolated property 4 years ago. In a poignant act of remembrance, she named her new home Firefly Meadows. Remember, her daughter disappeared while catching fireflies. Inside the home hangs a picture painted by one of her close friends. It shows a back view of Morgan upside, and we're going to see this picture, hanging back view of Morgan upside down on a wooden swing in the setting where Nick now lives, which Morgan never knew. Okay, I'll pull up that picture first. Here's the picture we're talking. So this hangs in her mom's room, and of her daughter just enjoying herself. That video, the picture that as a mom, you look out your kitchen window and you see your kids just swinging on a swing. That's what that is. Okay, so here, a different girl who Lincks attempted to abduct gave police a description of his car, which matched the one spotted in Alma, which you're seeing right there. And there's Morgan, and then an age progressed of her. Her bare feet are wrapped, going back to the picture, okay, the painting. Her bare feet are wrapped around the ropes. Her long blonde hair is hanging down. It is an image of carefree, endless summer days, an image of innocence and happiness. Nick gazes at it with love. She admitted the latest finding felt like a gut punch, despite it being one step further in helping to solve the puzzle of her beloved daughter's disappearance. It also hampered her hope. Her emotions, she said, are very raw right now. My fight for Morgan all these years has been to find her and bring her home to our family, to be a part of our family again. I fought for that chance that somehow she survived this, and in my heart and in my head, that's where she is. That's where she's been all these years, that somehow she survived. Colleen believes Lincks, a World War II veteran, was probably a serious multiple sex offender with many victims still living with mental scars of his sadistic abuse. He didn't only offend against Morgan and the cases we know about. I'm sure about that, she said. I don't know that he ever took anyone else's life because he wasn't caught for that. But I believe there are probably little girls out there who grew up with what he did to them and have to live with that, and also not having any justice or any answers. For Morgan, what's left is to find her, because we know who took her. We know probably 95% of what he did. Now our job is to bring her home to our family. Nick said no member of her family knew Lincks and had certainly never been in his truck, apart from almost certainly Morgan. The only way that piece of hair, that strand of hair would have been there, would have been Morgan's. At this week's press conference to announce the breakthrough, which we will watch, she said of Lincks, he stole Morgan from us, but he didn't win. Our love for Morgan, her memory, her voice outlasted his life. That love continues to shine. Morgan's heart shines on. A massive task force of local police, Arkansas State Police, and the FBI set up headquarters in Alma after her abduction, sifting through thousands of tips and leads. And they do in this press conference. And one reason why I decided I was just going to show this, but we're going to watch the press conference for those of you who want to hang out for that in a few seconds. They really went through how they came about figuring out who it was. Okay, which was really interesting to me to listen to the whole process. Witnesses said a man was staring at Morgan during the baseball game and described a distinctive red truck with a white camper top parked near the scene. Okay, take us back to this picture right here. And Siren, how you doing, my dear Siren? I can't wait to say it. We're going to be having the next step of the tasting challenge thing. So I'll be sharing that actually. Let me see. Park near the scene. Okay. When Lincks attempted to snatch the 11-year-old 3 months later, the victim's description of his vehicle matched the truck in the Morgan investigation. Investigators on Morgan's case did a lot on Lincks at the time. They knew. I honestly believe they knew. They just couldn't prove it. Nick, who has an adult son and daughter, both born after Morgan, but they couldn't find that definite connection to her. They also had hundreds of other leads that they continued to run with. They really dug in. They didn't miss this because of lack of hard work. The path to finally nailing Lincks came when detectives found the new owner of his truck, took more samples for analysis, including hair. These were sent to an FBI lab 4 years ago, but no results came. Alma detective Sean Taylor learned in June of 2023 of advanced analysis processes at Othram Labs in Texas. We talked about them recently. He got the evidence back from the FBI and sent it to the Lone Star State. I'm pretty sure, isn't this that Othram Labs, the group that, I don't know if Sleuth, Seal, okay, anyone else from in the bushes, if you remember the other day we were talking about DNA? I think it was Othram Labs we were talking about. The sensational results came back on September 27th this year, just what, week and a half ago, confirming Lincks should be in the frame. He was living in 3 bedrooms, 1,000 square foot rental home down a dusty truck outside Van Buren at the time of Morgan's abduction and his arrest for snatching the 11-year-old. One of his sons is also a convicted sex offender, which opens up so much more potentials there in my eyes also. Andrew Lincks, now 55, was living in Bozeman, Montana when he broke into a woman's home in February 2011 and demanded money from her, according to records. And there's that loser right there. Quickly, the situation escalated to our district court in Gallatin County, Montana, was told. The victim's screams of "get off me" were heard by her roommate, who called police, and the younger Lincks, his son, was arrested at the house. "My life has been changed. I pity him for the fact that he takes no responsibility for his actions," his victim told the court. Lincks had no previous criminal record and said he was intoxicated when he carried it out. Ashley Whipple, the DA at Gallatin County at the time, told the court he doesn't understand why he did what he did, and that makes him a loose cannon. He is freaking scary. Exactly. He is so freaking scary. Andrew Lincks was sentenced to 10 years in prison and was released in 2019. The Daily Mail can also reveal he is back under strict judicial supervision after breaking the 20-year parole term. What a freaking loser. When DailyMail.com visited the Van Buren home of Andrew's brother, William, 73, to ask for comment on his father being named a suspect in Morgan's disappearance, a woman in her late 30s shouted, "We deserve some peace." Oh, hell no. Hell no. No, I will say this. I do feel sorry sometimes when families get pulled into these things and it's not their fault. It's the asshole of a family member's fault. But the problem is, you know what? Stand up then and just say, yeah, what they did is unacceptable and I'd never stand by it ever. Okay, when you start yelling, you know what? I would think this little girl would have loved some peace. I know her mom would love some peace. I know her mom would probably love to have an answer of where her daughter is. So, whatever. And also, let me see. Sorry, I missed your guys' comments here. And he is definitely scary. Okay. Oh, no, poor thing. Crystal, if you need to leave, you need to leave if you start feeling bad. Oh, yeah. Perfect. Get some rest. Get some rest right now. So what I want to do right now, okay, those are the main cases. I do want to play. Like I said, I wasn't going to show the video conference, the press conference involved in this case, but I know a lot of you guys are interested in investigations, how they go about, things like that. So we are going to actually go through this. I got it at 1.25 speed because they talk so slow. Oh my gosh. Even 1.25 probably could be sped up, to be honest. I might actually do that. For those of you who want to hang out with me, we can talk about it a little as we're going through. Cassie, would you stop jumping down, please? Thank you. And also, but yeah, this team has worked their butt off. They really did. They've done an amazing job pulling all this together. And I wish it had come earlier, but you know what? It's going to come earlier for someone else in the future because we have this DNA capability now. We're starting to be able to figure out things quicker now. Okay, find things that in the past no one ever would have been able to. So, okay, so I got our subtitles on here, and let's go. Should be
Good morning,
loud.
ladies and gentlemen.
Okay.
First, I would like to thank you all for joining us today. My name is Jeff Warner, and I'm the chief of the Alma Police Department. We called you here today to report a significant development in the investigation of the 1995 kidnapping of Morgan Nick. You'll recall that Morgan was kidnapped from a parking lot of the Alma Little League ball field, just about a block away from here, around 10:45 p.m. on June the 9th, 1995. A suspect description was provided, as was a description of a red truck with a white camper shell that was allegedly involved. Since then, we, along with allied local, state, and federal law enforcement officials, have spent thousands of hours working more than 10,000 leads in this case. One of the early persons of interest in this case was Billy Jack Lincks. Lincks was arrested for sexual solicitation of a child on August 29, 1995 in Van Buren, Arkansas. On that occasion, Lincks tried to lure an 11-year-old girl into his red pickup truck. This was roughly 12 weeks after Morgan's disappearance. Police questioned Lincks on August 31, 1995. He denied any knowledge of Morgan's abduction and at that time appeared to be truthful. Investigators at that time moved on. In July 2019, then Alma Police Department Lieutenant Brett Hartley decided to go back to the beginning of this case, to review the case from the beginning. During that process, Lieutenant Hartley spoke with an individual who provided information inspiring him to revisit the possibility that Billy Jack Lincks might be Morgan's abductor. Investigators worked to locate the truck Lincks owned in 1995, and we were able to contact the current owner of that truck. We determined that the owner had no knowledge of Lincks. He gave permission for us to examine the truck for evidence at that time. To that end, investigators arranged for the FBI Evidence Response Team to examine the truck, and they did so on July the 28th, 2020. Among the collection methods the team used was that of vacuuming various locations within the vehicle. In doing so, they produced several vacuum canisters containing various forms of matter, including hair from the vehicle. Upon completion of the collection process,
Think how long that was. How easily that hair could have been vacuumed up at another time. I mean, he sold the car. Okay, most people, when they're selling their car, clean it out real good and stuff like that. I mean, I honestly, if you want to know my truth, okay, I believe this is where God is coming in and saying, okay, you know what? I'm going to try to give you some closure, give you some answers. Just me.
the FBI retained custody of the evidence. In July 2023, Detective Sean Taylor with the Alma Police Department learned of advanced analysis processes that's available at Ortham Laboratory, which is based in Texas. Detective Taylor conferred with a representative of the lab and learned, among other things, they had been successful in developing DNA profiles from hair with or without roots. On September 11, 2023, Detective Taylor conferred with an FBI agent to discuss the possibility of sending this trace evidence to Ortham Labs. On September 27, 2023, Detective Taylor received a package containing this evidence from the FBI, which was originally from the red truck. On December 1st, 2023, Detective Taylor sent this evidence to Ortham Laboratory for testing. And it's at that time that I wish to express my sincere thanks to the Arkansas State Police for providing the funding that was necessary to perform this analysis. On September 27, 2024, Ortham Laboratory sent a report to Detective Taylor stating in essence that they determined that the hair contained in the evidence that was submitted for analysis was that of Colleen Nick, one of her siblings or one of her children. We spent the next few days doing follow-up interviews with members of the Nick family, which revealed that none of them knew Billy Jack Lincks and that none of them had been in a truck that was similar to this one. The bottom line in this is that the physical evidence collected from the truck that Lincks owned when Morgan was abducted strongly indicates that Morgan had been in this truck. Billy Jack Lincks died in the year 2000. I think the most important thing here is Morgan is still missing. But we've reached a point where we can concentrate on one suspect to determine the circumstances surrounding Morgan's abduction. How was she taken from the ball field? What happened next? Did Lincks have help in abducting Morgan or concealing his crime all these years? And where is Morgan now? I can tell you today that this investigation is not over. It is ongoing and active. In the wake of this development, we're working to expand our understanding of Lincks and his activities. This includes, for example, additional interviews and re-interviews of known associates, and locating any additional physical evidence. This is where we need your help. We ask that every member of the public who might have information that can help answer these questions contact us at 1-800-THE-LOST, which is the number for the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. It's 1-800-843-5678.
And that's the thing. They're not, this is almost like, okay, we're going again. They never stopped, but it's like, okay, that you're reading, okay, a series, a book series. Okay, up to now was book 1. Now we got book 2 going now. And we're going to find out all the rest of these answers because like you said, Seal, someone out there knows more. I would love to know if anyone in his family does know. I hate to say it, but if you're seeing his son acting in that way, something's happening there. Whether it was abuse in general in the household, there's something there. And you know what? We all know, okay, what it's like if you're drinking with friends, your mouth opens up and you start talking a little bit more. Someone heard something. They may not have believed him at the time. They might have been like, oh yeah, there he goes again or something. But now they're like, oh, maybe he did mean it. Okay, yeah, you would think someone, okay, there's something there. And he can't hurt anyone. Now, I don't know if there's other people who could and are threatening people, but someone knows something out there. And it would be great if they could, because it might be just this teeny tiny little bit of information, but once it's put together with other information, wouldn't it be amazing if they could actually find her? If they could actually find Morgan and bring her home? That's all. That's all that's needed right now.
This time we will take a few questions.
Chief, what's the next step on this? And I guess what other information are you still investigating, or is there other evidence that you're still investigating?
Well, like explained, we want to go back and see if there's any more evidence that can be located. Our next step is refocusing on Mr. Lincks, his activities, and any unknown associates of his at that time.
Have you checked his old house in Van Buren?
There's been some investigations that have been done there, yes.
Is Billy Jack Lincks being declared as an actual suspect?
As of today, for the first time that I'm aware of in this case, I'm calling Billy Jack Lincks a suspect in Morgan's abduction.
And that's right now. He's the only.
So he's officially named a suspect now. In the bushes, I don't think his son was part of it. I do have a gut feeling his son may know more, or there's enough based off of his behavior. It's the whole focus of what was acceptable at home, what was being discussed at home, things like that. That I think is where I'm kind of going. No, I don't think he was involved. I do know some people have asked that. Okay, but yeah, no, I don't think so. They are searching some state parks. Interesting. Wife or girlfriend? That I don't know. That I do not know. And again, this is one of those cases I came across the new update today, actually. I'm gonna have to look into that.
He is.
Talk about two things. Nearly 30 years later, that's incredible that you've been able to have this evidence analyzed. Talk about that for me.
Well, you know, I'm not going to stand here and try to answer scientific questions because I don't understand them. The fact is, you know, a laboratory that does this kind of testing has confirmed that this evidence was located in the truck. You know, it took them a while to get some results, just because you just said it's been almost 30 years, and so the fact that the evidence was degraded, so that it did take some time to provide those results.
And then Lincks still has family in this area, in this region today. Have they been cooperative?
The family that we have talked to has been cooperative, yes.
How confident are you that
Family has been cooperative.
this is going to lead to her whereabouts?
I can't answer that right now. We hope that that's the end result, to be able to bring Morgan home.
You mentioned looking at whether he acted alone. Are there any indications that he didn't
Did he act alone or not?
How are you looking into those things?
Well, you know, there's still, as I mentioned, it's still active and ongoing. You know, we don't know if he acted alone or if he had someone with him. Those are some things that we want to go back and try to find out just by mainly interviews and re-examining some of the evidence.
Is there anything that's pointed to that possibility?
As of right now, we have no indication of that. But again,
Like they said, her mom said, she's almost positive there's other victims. Okay, a man like this is not like, well, we already know there were other potential victims to begin with. Okay, so there's most likely other, young girls out there whose lives were destroyed by him. And if they can connect with those girls, they start finding out a little bit more about what this guy would do. Were there other people with him, or was it just him? They can start getting those answers through that investigation process.
that's something that I can't answer for sure right now.
Are there any more? I'm trying to refresh my memory. Really up to speed. I believe it was reported that some people reported a possible red truck, possibly this person in the Kibler area at river access location. Is that any more information with that? Am I correct when I said that? Not long after the disappearance of matching his description of that truck there.
Yes, there was, you know, if you guys remember, as I know most of you do, there was a lot of reports of this red truck at various locations around that time.
Do you believe that's founded, that report that you received about that truck at that location?
We believe that several of the locations has been confirmed.
They
Do you know
had
how many
idea.
hands this truck has been passed over, or has it just been a direct sale to the last person?
It has had a few owners in between.
Wow.
And are those like recorded sales, or is that cash on the table type?
No, it's recorded sales.
So multiple owners of the vehicle and all that
Did you say
time.
you only found one piece of hair, or were there multiple?
It's my understanding there was multiple hairs found, but there was one of them that these results came from.
And has the hair been tested before and now retested?
You know, there's a part of me that wonders, did they test any of the other hairs that were found to make sure there aren't any other missing young children? Again, knowing that there could be other people who were affected by him. All of these missing children out there, is there a chance that some other hair that was sucked up into that vacuum cleaner connects with another missing child out there? It'd be interesting. I would think that they did do that. Yeah, it's wild, Seal. I mean, multiple owners and multiple hairs still found. Okay, you can't tell me that someone wasn't looking down saying, you know what? we need some level of justice here. Now, if only we could find her.
I can't answer that for sure, but it's my understanding that this hair has never been tested.
As of now, has anyone come forward with additional information about Lincks that maybe said, told me about this? Has anybody else, I know we put this out there, last year, a couple years ago, asking for information about Lincks. Between now and then, has anybody come forward with more information specifically about that?
We have gotten some information on Lincks, but it's not the answer we need. All the information that we've received has been very helpful to this point, but we need more, and that's the purpose of this conference today.
What kind of information are you looking for? Someone knew him, or was it
Yes.
an area?
Someone that knew him, maybe a witness that has never said anything, maybe someone that he told something to that has never told anyone.
Chief, prior to the arrest in Van Buren, did he have a criminal record in his past?
Yes, he did.
Was it extensive?
Not to my knowledge. I know he had a previous arrest here in Crawford County a few years prior.
And I know you've looked at him extensively. Can you just simply tell us about Lincks when he lived in this area briefly, and about him? Who might have known? Tell me about him.
Well, Lincks was from
In the bushes, so you're saying connected to another, girl who lost her life in Fort Smith, Arkansas. Wow. Same age range or anything like that? And do you know if I'll have to look also later whether or not it's something that they found out after? I'm thinking this guy lucked out and did not get connected to a lot of things till after his death is my suspicion.
Crawford County. He had retired from the Texas area and moved to Crawford County, and I'm not sure of those dates, but like I said, he was retired. He was, so he was around this area, had some family around this area. Is that kind of what you're asking?
Yeah, he lived here for some time. How long? I don't know. I'm just trying to find out more about it.
And that's scary to me in the bushes because it's showing that he doesn't really have a type. We hear about types and all. It looks like he has a wide range, and that's even scarier to me. How many other victims are out there based off of that alone? It widens that pool big time.
Who this person was, I don't know what his profession was, how long was he here, just generally, who might have known him, who he hang out with, tell us about him.
It's my understanding, and again, I don't have those dates in front of me right now, but, he had lived in the Crawford County area for several years, and it's to my knowledge that he was retired.
What was his age at the time of death?
His age at that time would have been, I believe, 72 years old.
Now that he's passed, does this open a whole portfolio on him of looking into his past and other databases to see any, leads to this, or just looking into his past, helping this investigation?
Yes, we're looking into his past. We're hoping that someone has the missing puzzle that we need that can come forward.
We know that he did a attempted kidnapping. Have we talked to that family just to see if he mentioned anything of where they would take her, or any ways of where they would?
Yes, that investigation has been looked at.
Moving forward, what kind of law enforcement presence will be dedicated to this case?
Well, obviously, we have someone that's dedicated to this case. Alma's a small department, but.
Good night, Seal. Sleep well, my dear, and sleep.
Some of us multitasking, but we do have an investigator that's dedicated to this case. We have a part-time investigator that's dedicated to this case and this case only. We have good allies with the local, state, and federal law enforcement agencies that has offered any assistance that we need.
Is it safe to say this is the most significant breakthrough we've had
in my opinion, yes.
And just for clarification, it's just that you have Morgan Nicks associated with the truck and with Lincks, but it doesn't necessarily mean that Lincks had, you don't have any evidence that Lincks actually did something to her. Is that right?
That is correct. We believe strongly that Morgan was in this truck.
All they can prove is that she was in the truck.
Has the LEO or any officials have searched Lincks' property?
Yeah, there have been some searches done in the past, yes.
Anything that links him to that ballpark in the past or that particular evening?
Not to my knowledge, other than some sightings of a similar pickup, if not the truck, in the area.
And one last question, please.
Was there any other evidence found inside that truck that ties Morgan to the truck other than the hair?
I can't answer that right now because I'm honestly not sure what all evidence was collected out of that truck. You know, it was processed by the FBI evidence response team. We were present for that, but there was some evidence that was tested by the FBI, and so some of that is I don't know.
Chief, I see you're joining state police, local prosecutors, FBI. This is everybody who's actively assisting with this. Is that correct? Did I miss anybody?
No, as I mentioned, the state police was a big help in funding this testing. So they're here with us today as and assisting us, and have offered their resources for us.
Would any members like to talk?
Not at this time. I'm going to turn it over to Colleen that wants to say something.
I think this is where, at the end, this is her mom, Colleen.
You know, there have been an army of supporters and advocates and heroes who have rallied to uncover the truth about Morgan's disappearance, and you see those people here in this room today. And what I have to say about Billy Jack Lincks is that he stole Morgan from me. He stole her from her dad. And he stole her from Logan and Taryn. But he didn't see that he could never win. Because our love for Morgan, her memory and her voice outlasted his life. And that love continues to shine. Her heart, Morgan's heart, shines on.
Again, we appreciate you guys being here today. Any media questions are going to be routed to the Arkansas State Police Public Information.
Okay, so I'm just going to stop it there. So kind of gives you an idea where things are going with that. Hopefully we'll hear more stuff. Yeah, her family, 30 years of being her voice. I mean, it's like we hear about all these cases. Madeline McCann, for example. Okay, so I was talking to someone yesterday, sent me a message. Okay, of actually, there's another person out there saying they think they are Madeline. But when you come down to it, you look at family members of those who are missing, no matter whether you think they're involved or not. I know there's people on those levels too, but their whole life switches from being a parent to being their advocate, being their voice, being, okay, giving them that ability to scream louder than ever without actually being here anymore. So I want to thank all you guys who joined us tonight. Big thanks for B-Tim. Thank you again so much if you're still here for the 5 memberships. For those of you who became members, I need to start figuring out some things I can do for you guys again. I really need to. So if you got ideas, let me know. And also Monday, I will be back. I do need to work on, there's a couple cases that I promised I was going to do some updates on, specifically the Devon case. I just got to figure out how to fit that in. As I mentioned earlier, there is a Siren is going to be, for those of you who are there for the Hot Ones episode, he is going to be doing a follow-up this Sunday. I think we promised we were going to do it. Let me get the link real quickly for y'all. We are going for sour. So if you've ever wanted me to see me go like that, you're going to get to see me do exactly that in a couple days. Okay, it's going to be 2:00 my time on the 6th, which is on Sunday. Let me give you guys the link. If any of you guys are looking for the fun, okay, the first one was a blast. It was just, we had so much fun just talking and burning the heck out of our lips and mouth and everything else. So this one's going to be all sour stuff. So please come join us that day for that. For those of you who've been hanging out, thank you guys so much. Oh, thank you, Lioness and Red Rock and Seals Gone, Cristola. Okay. In the bushes, thanks for sticking out with me this whole, and your help with these cases, because that's the thing. A lot of times I'm catching up on these types of cases. Like I said, 2 of these cases today, a lot of the information came because of people who are sharing information on Discord. I see it and I'm like, ooh, I got to go take that. Okay. Oh my God, Siren, you're still there. And I wasn't sure if you were actually there. It'll be the same face. Yeah. Oh, is that it? Is that it? And also, anyhow, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun live, actually. I have the bag full of all the food that he sent us. And oh my God, I've tasted a couple of the different candies in the past or things. And oh my God. So, but anyhow, I will see y'all Sunday. And then on Monday, I'll see you guys again for Missing Mondays. Hope you guys have an awesome weekend. I will talk to you later. You guys want to say goodbye? My backrest. You got to say goodbye, guys. Goodbye. Bye-bye. Uh-oh, we're going to have a dog fight now. Yep, dog fight. Yep, here we go. Bye.